All right, so you want to know about this Pep Guardiola fella, eh?
Seems like it.
We got a bloody mountain of crap here. Articles, Wikipedia, the whole shebang. Feels like someone's got a serious Pep fetish, wouldn't you say?
Someone's been busy, that's for sure.
But let's cut the crap and dive into what makes this bloke tick.
All right, let's do it.
Let's rewind back to his playing days. This dude wasn't just some bench warmer. He was the bloody midfield maestro for Barcelona's dream team back in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking European Cups, La Liga titles, the whole fucking enchilada.
Right from the start, you could see his intelligence on the pitch, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't the fastest or strongest, but his vision and passing were just phenomenal.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. He controlled the game with his brain, dictating the tempo, creating chances for his teammates, like a bloody puppet master, pulling the strings for one of the most exciting teams in football history.
So he was a bit of a thinker, eh? Not just a run around, kick the ball kind of player.
Yep.
More like a chess player with a football. Interesting. But you wouldn't necessarily know it from his demeanor, would you?
Right.
You'd think a guy with that much talent would be an arrogant prick, strutting around like he owned the place. But by all accounts, he was this elegant, hard-working player. Not your typical image of a flashy footballer, eh? More like the gentleman, almost.
Totally.
It's funny how that humility and work ethic translated directly into his management style later on, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
He demands that same dedication and focus from his players that he displayed throughout his own career. No messing about, no prima donnas allowed.
He sets the bar high, that's for sure.
All right, hold your horses.
Okay.
Before we get ahead of ourselves and jump into his management career, there's a bit of a curveball in his story. He gets busted for doping in Italy.
Yes.
Can you fucking believe that?
The nandrolone scandal?
Not even it.
Nandrolone, it's a banned substance. It was a bit of a murky situation.
I bet it was.
He was playing for Brescia at the time and tested positive for this banned substance.
Sure.
But he always maintained his innocence, claiming it was accidental,
Oh, yeah.
or a result of contaminated supplement.
Dodgy protein powder or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, after a long legal battle, he was eventually cleared of the charges in 2009.
So innocent until proven guilty, right?
Oh, exactly.
But it definitely adds a bit of spice to the Pep narrative, don't you think?
It certainly does.
Shows that even someone considered a good guy in the often corrupt world of football can get caught up in controversy. Nobody's perfect, eh?
No one's perfect.
And get this, he wraps up his playing career in fucking Mexico.
Really?
Who does that?
Yeah.
Seems like the guy just loves a challenge, maybe even thrives on shaking things up a bit.
Well, it was actually a very deliberate move on his part.
Oh, yeah?
He could have easily retired after his time in Italy, enjoyed the quiet life.
Kick back, put his feet up.
But instead, he decides to join Dorados de Sinaloa in the Mexican Second Division.
Dorados do what?
Sinaloa. It was a strange move for a player of his stature, you have to admit.
Bit of a head scratcher, that's for sure.
But it actually makes sense when you look at the bigger picture.
Go.
The manager at Dorados was Juan Manuel Lillo, a guy Pep considered a mentor. So it was a chance for him to learn from someone he deeply respected, you know?
Soak up some wisdom from the master.
Exactly, while also experiencing a completely different footballing culture.
So, more about soaking up knowledge than chasing fame and fortune.
You could say that.
Interesting. It's almost like he was laying the groundwork for his future as a manager, even back then.
It's definitely possible.
It shows a real thirst for knowledge and a willingness to step outside his comfort zone.
Which are traits that have definitely served him well as a manager.
Okay, let's fast forward to his managerial career.
All right.
We all know the headlines. Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Manchester City. He's basically conquered every league he's touched. Trophies raining down like confetti, breaking records left and right. It's enough to make your head spin.
And it all started with Barcelona's B team, believe it or not. He took over in 2007, honed his philosophy, and then, boom, promoted to manager of the senior team a year later.
And that's where the real magic happened.
Yeah.
He takes over Barcelona and turns them into this fucking unstoppable force.
They were something else.
Champions League titles, La Liga domination, the whole 9 yards.
His first season in charge was unbelievable.
How so?
They won the treble La Liga, Copa del Rey, and the Champions League.
A treble.
Yeah, all 3 major trophies in one season.
Fucking hell.
That team was a masterpiece. Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, all playing this beautiful possession-based football that became synonymous with Pep. They were dominating opponents, scoring goals for fun. basically redefining what it meant to be a great football team.
Yeah, that tiki-taka shit was something else.
It really was.
It wasn't just effective, it was beautiful to watch, like a choreographed dance of death for the other team. But can we break that down a bit? What the hell is tiki-taka and how does it actually work? Our listener wants the juicy details, not just fancy names.
All right, so tiki-taka is all about maintaining possession, passing the ball quickly and accurately, constantly moving to create space, and passing options.
Okay, so far so good.
It's about suffocating the opponent, not giving them a chance to breathe, and then exploiting the gaps that inevitably appear. Basically, the idea is if you have the ball, the other team can't score.
Makes sense.
It's a style that requires incredible technical ability, discipline, and understanding between players.
So not just any old bunch of blows can pull this off, eh?
Definitely not. It's not just about mindless passing. It's about intelligent movement, finding angles, knowing when to switch the play or penetrate the defense.
So basically death by 1,000 cuts. You wear the other team down with your passing and then bam, you hit them with a killer pass and they're fucked.
Exactly. And Barcelona, under Pep, were masters of it. They had players like Xavi and Iniesta who were just phenomenal at keeping the ball, finding space, and creating chances.
And then there's Messi,
Ah, yes, Messi.
who was basically a cheat code in that system. But let's not forget, Pep didn't just inherit this tiki-taka style, did he?
No, he didn't.
He evolved it, refined it, made it his own.
Absolutely. He took the foundations laid by Johan Cruyff, his manager at Barcelona back in his playing days, and built upon them. Added his own wrinkles, like the emphasis on pressing high up the pitch to win the ball back quickly. He was constantly tweaking, experimenting, looking for ways to improve, never satisfied, always pushing the boundaries.
And that's what makes him so fascinating, right?
Yeah.
He's not just some paint-by-numbers manager.
Nope.
He's an innovator, always pushing the boundaries of the game, always thinking, always evolving.
Exactly. He's not afraid to try new things, to challenge conventional wisdom. He's got this insatiable curiosity, this desire to keep learning and evolving.
So what you're saying is this guy is not your average football manager.
Not by a long shot.
Okay, so he fucking kills it at Barcelona, wins everything under the sun. Then he decides to take a year off.
Right.
What's the deal with that? Was he burned out? Did he just want to sit on a beach and sip cocktails for a year?
I think it was a combination of factors.
Go on.
He had achieved incredible success at Barcelona, but the pressure and intensity were relentless. You know, he probably needed a break to recharge, reassess.
Fair enough. But then he gets the itch again, and this time it's Bayern Munich calling. Another powerhouse club, but a very different beast from Barcelona. How did he handle that transition?
It was a challenge for sure. Bayern had their own established style of play, more direct and physical than Barcelona's intricate passing game.
So, a bit of a culture clash.
You could say that. But Pep adapted, as he always does. He didn't try to force his system onto the players. He molded it to fit their strengths. He still emphasized possession and pressing, but he also incorporated elements of Bayern's traditional approach.
So he didn't completely abandon his tiki-taka bullshit.
Not at all.
Interesting.
He evolved it, tweaked it to suit the players in the league. He's not dogmatic about his tactics. He's pragmatic.
Adaptable.
Exactly. He understands that you need to be flexible and adaptable to succeed at the highest level.
And he did succeed, right? Won the Bundesliga 3 times in a row.
He did.
But there were whispers, weren't there? Some critics saying he couldn't cut it in the Champions League with Bayern.
There were definitely some questions about his European record with Bayern.
Like what?
He reached 3 consecutive semifinals, but couldn't get past that hurdle.
So close, yet so far.
Some argued that his style of play, so dominant in domestic competitions, wasn't as effective against the best teams in Europe.
Maybe he overthought things a bit, tried to be too clever, too cute.
It's possible. He's known for his meticulous planning and tactical innovations, but sometimes it can backfire. You know, he can get too caught up in the details, trying to outsmart his opponents, and end up overcomplicating things.
Like he's playing 4D chess while everyone else is still stuck on checkers.
Exactly.
But hey, even geniuses fuck up sometimes, right?
Absolutely. And to be fair, Bayern was already a top team before he arrived. It's not like he transformed them into world beaters overnight. He built upon their existing strengths and added his own touches.
All right, let's jump ahead to his time at Manchester City.
Okay.
This is where he really cemented his legacy, right? Shattered records, built one of the most dominant teams the Premier League has ever seen.
His impact at City has been undeniable. He arrived in 2016 and immediately set about transforming the team.
How so?
He instilled his philosophy, brought in new players, created a culture of excellence.
And the results were fucking spectacular.
They were.
They won the Premier League title with a record of 100 points in his second season, then followed it up with another title the next year. They've been basically unstoppable ever since.
It's remarkable, really.
He's turned them into a machine.
That's one way to put it.
Relentless pressing, fluid passing, and incredible ability to score goals from all areas of the pitch. They've won 5 Premier League titles in his 7 seasons in charge. It's like watching a video game sometimes. They just control the ball, pass it around, and then suddenly, boom, goal. It's almost unfair to the other teams.
It can be quite demoralizing for the opposition.
But that's what makes Pep so brilliant, isn't it? He creates systems that are both aesthetically pleasing and ruthlessly effective. Takes talented players and makes them even better.
He's a master of his craft.
But even at City, he's had his critics, right?
He has.
People saying he spends too much money, that he's only successful because he's got a bottomless pit of cash to splash around.
There's always going to be that criticism when you're managing a club like City. They have incredible resources, and Pep has certainly made use of them. He's brought in some world-class players. But it's not just about buying talent, is it?
What else is there?
It's about how he integrates those players into his system, how he gets them to buy into his philosophy and work together as a unit.
So it's not just about throwing money at the problem.
No.
There's a real method to his madness.
Absolutely. He's meticulous in his planning, his training methods, his tactical approach. He doesn't leave anything to chance.
Wow.
He's obsessed with details, with getting every little thing right, and that's what separates him from the rest, isn't it?
So he's not just a manager. He's a fucking artist.
He is.
Sculpting a masterpiece out of football players and tactics.
He's certainly got a unique vision, and he's not afraid to pursue it no matter what anyone else says.
So a true original.
A true innovator, a revolutionary figure in the game.
Okay, so he fucking kills it at Barcelona, wins everything under the sun, then he decides to take a year off.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that? Burnout. Just wanted to sit on a beach sipping cocktails for a year.
Well, I think it was probably a combination of factors, to be honest.
Like what?
I mean, he'd achieved incredible success at Barcelona, but that kind of pressure, that intensity, it's relentless. He probably just needed a break.
Yeah, to recharge, reassess, all that.
Exactly.
Fair enough. But then he gets the itch again, and this time it's Bayern Munich calling. Another powerhouse club, but a very different beast from Barcelona. How did he handle that transition?
It was a challenge, for sure. Bayern had their own style of play, much more direct and physical than Barcelona's intricate passing game.
So, bit of a culture clash then.
Yeah, you could say that. But Pep adapted, as he always seems to do. He didn't try to force his system onto the players. He molded it to fit their strengths.
Or?
He still emphasized possession and pressing, but he also incorporated elements of Bayern's traditional approach.
So he didn't completely abandon his tiki-taka bullshit.
Not at all. He evolved it, tweaked it to suit the players and the league. He's not dogmatic about his tactics.
So he's pragmatic then.
Exactly. He understands that you need to be flexible, adaptable to succeed at the highest level.
And he did succeed, right? Won the Bundesliga 3 times in a row.
3 in a row, yeah.
But there were whispers, weren't there? Some critics saying he couldn't cut it in the Champions League with Bayern.
Yeah, there were definitely questions about his European record with Bayern.
Like what?
Well, he reached 3 consecutive semifinals, but just couldn't get past that hurdle.
So close.
Some argued that his style of play, so dominant in domestic competitions, just wasn't as effective against the best teams in Europe.
Maybe he overthought things a bit. Tried to be too clever.
It's possible. He's known for his meticulous planning, his tactical innovations, but sometimes that can backfire.
Yeah, you can get too caught up in the details, trying to outsmart everyone.
Exactly. And sometimes it ends up overcomplicating things.
It's like he's playing 4D chess while everyone else is still stuck on checkers.
That's a good way to put it. But hey, even geniuses fuck up sometimes, right?
Sure enough.
Uh-huh.
And to be fair, Bayern was already a top team before he arrived.
Right.
It's not like he transformed them into world beaters overnight. He built upon their existing strengths, added his own touches.
Absolutely.
All right, let's jump ahead to his time at Manchester City. This is where he really cemented his legacy, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Shattered records, built one of those dominant teams the Premier League has ever seen.
His impact at City has been undeniable. He arrived in 2016 and immediately started transforming the team.
In what way?
He instilled his philosophy, brought in new players, created a culture of excellence.
And the results were pretty fucking spectacular.
They were, yeah.
They won the Premier League title with a record 100 points in his second season.
Incredible.
And then followed it up with another title the next year. They've been basically unstoppable ever since.
5 Premier League titles in 7 seasons.
It's mental. He's turned them into a machine.
A well-oiled machine.
Relentless pressing, fluid passing, and incredible ability to score goals from all areas of the pitch. It's like watching a video game sometimes.
I know what you mean.
They just control the ball, pass it around, and then suddenly, boom, goal.
It can be quite demoralizing for the opposition.
But that's what makes Pep so brilliant, isn't it? He creates these systems that are both aesthetically pleasing and ruthlessly effective, takes talented players and makes them even better.
He's a master of this craft, that's for sure.
But even at City, he's had his critics, right? People saying he spends too much money, that he's only successful because he's got a bottomless pit of cash to splash around.
Yeah, that's a common criticism.
And is there any truth to it?
Well, there's always going to be that criticism when you're managing a club like City. They have incredible resources, and Pep has certainly made use of them. He's brought in some world-class players. But it's not just about buying talent, is it? It's about how he integrates those players into his system, how he gets them to buy into his philosophy and work together as a unit.
So it's not just about throwing money at the problem.
No, not at all.
There's a real method to his madness.
Absolutely. He's meticulous in his planning, his training methods, his tactical approach. He doesn't leave anything to chance. He's obsessed with the details, with getting every little thing right.
And that's what separates him from the rest.
I think so. He's not just a manager, he's an artist.
An artist.
Yeah, sculpting a masterpiece out of football players and tactics. He's got a unique vision, and he's not afraid to pursue it.
So a true original.
A true innovator, a revolutionary figure in the game.
All right, so we've covered Pep's tactical genius, his relentless pursuit of perfection, his ability to turn teams into goal-scoring machines. But let's be real, the guy's not exactly Mr. Congeniality, is he? He's got a bit of a reputation for being, shall we say, intense.
Intense is putting it mildly.
Really?
This is a guy who once ripped into his own medical staff for not getting a player back from injury quickly enough.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Demanding, passionate, doesn't suffer fools gladly.
Sounds like a right pain in the arse to work for. But hey, maybe that's the secret to his success, eh? You don't become one of the greatest managers of all time by being a pushover. But let's get specific. Who are some of Pep's biggest rivals? Who does he love to get one over on?
Well, the obvious one is Jose Mourinho.
Mourinho.
Their rivalry goes back to their time in Spain when Mourinho was managing Real Madrid. It was a clash of styles, personalities, Pep's possession-based football against Mourinho's more pragmatic defensive approach.
The classic battle of beauty versus the beast. And let's not forget those fucking legendary press conferences. Those two could throw shade like nobody's business.
Oh, it was box office stuff.
Yeah.
They'd trade barbs through the media, and their matches were always intense, highly charged affairs, like watching a heavyweight boxing match, but with football players instead of boxers.
And the best part is, you never knew who was going to win. Sometimes Pep's beautiful football would prevail. Other times, Mourinho's cynical tactics would grind out a result. It was a fascinating rivalry, and it definitely added another layer of intrigue to those El Clasico matches.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just limited to Spain.
Oh, yeah.
Their rivalry continued when Mourinho took over at Chelsea and then Manchester United. They've had some epic battles over the years, and it's always a treat for the fans when those two go head-to-head.
But it's not just Mourinho, right? Pep's had run-ins with other managers, hasn't he? I mean, the guy's got a temper.
Oh, he's clashed with Jurgen Klopp a few times. Yeah, but their rivalry is more respectful, I'd say. They both share a similar philosophy in terms of attacking football.
So their matches are a bit more
explosive, high-scoring, entertaining.
Right.
And then there was that infamous tunnel incident with Wigan athletic manager Paul Cook back in 2018.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one. Pep was fuming after Wigan knocked City out of the FA Cup. Things got a bit heated, didn't they?
Let's just say there was some shouting, finger-pointing, maybe even a few choice words exchanged.
Classic Pep.
Yeah.
Always wearing his heart on his sleeve. But it's not just managers, is it? Pep's not exactly known for being a referee's best friend.
He can be quite vocal when he disagrees with a decision. He's been known to give the fourth official an earful, and he's even been sent off a few times for his antics on the touchline.
Passionate or a bit of a drama queen? You decide.
Right. A bit of both, probably. But you can't deny his commitment, his intensity. He lives and breathes football, and he wants to win even if it means bending the rules a little bit.
And the media, of course, loves to stir the pot, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Always trying to get a rise out of Pep.
He definitely has a love-hate relationship with the press.
I bet.
He appreciates their role, of course, but he also gets frustrated with the constant scrutiny, their tendency to sensationalize things.
Well, can you blame him? They're like a pack of vultures just waiting for him to slip up so they can feast on his misery. But hey, that's the price you pay for being at the top of the game.
It comes with the territory.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here. His playing days, his management style, his rivalries, his controversies. But let's wrap things up with the big question. Is Pep Guardiola the greatest football manager of all time?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And there's no easy answer.
So what do you think?
I think he's certainly in the conversation. I mean, look at his trophy haul, his revolutionary tactics, his undeniable impact on the game. It's hard to argue with that.
True. But there are other contenders, right?
Yeah.
Sir Alex Ferguson, Johan Cruyff, Bill Shankly. Those guys weren't exactly slouches.
Exactly. It's subjective, really. Depends on how you define greatness. But one thing's for sure. Pep Guardiola has left an indelible mark on football.
He's changed the game.
He'll be remembered as one of the most influential figures in the history of the game, no doubt about it.
So there you have it, folks. A deep dive into the mind of Pep Guardiola, the brilliant, the obsessive, the controversial. Love him or hate him, you can't deny his genius. He's a true one-off, and the game is richer for having him in it. Until next time, peace out.